Hey y'all, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I'm back with another video. Before I get started, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and go ahead and share my videos if you like. So this is going to be a follow-up, a part 2 to my Are Men Capable of Love video, because I feel the need to clarify some things, right? First of all, let me just say this. I do not hate men. I do not hate men. As a matter of fact, I believe that if women understood that men are incapable of love, they would move in love and quit trying to force men to be who they are not, or try to get from them what they are not capable of giving. Okay? Now, a lot of men want women to accept y'all's nature, but y'all want us to live in our lower selves in order to accept your nature. What does that mean? That means if y'all want women to just accept that y'all are just gonna cheat, and as long as you're bringing the money home, that's fine. And that woman will do it thinking that if she accepts this, you will actually love her. But if she understood that you will never love her, then she might choose differently. She might choose the same. Okay? Understanding this gives women a choice, and it takes the pressure off of you to be something that you're not, to do something that you're incapable of doing. You understand? A lot of y'all want us to be in competition with each other. Okay, y'all want us to, if we can just race to the bottom, do everything that y'all ask us to do, compete with other women, give up our whole lives trying to get something from you that you're incapable of giving. Okay, you might one day love us, when in all actuality, ladies, men who you have to do that for are completely incapable of love. They live in their lower nature. They're trapped in their lower nature. They are slaves to sex. Y'all want us to believe that you understand love, but your love is different from ours because it's on a transactional basis. Love is not transaction. Love is the highest form of consciousness. Okay, there's nothing transactional about that. However, if you want us to understand that you were transactional beings, now women understanding that you were incapable of gives them the option to deal with you on a transactional level without looking for love from you, without giving all of their love from you. They can deal with you the way you want to be dealt with. The problem here is that you need women to believe that you can love them. And that's the problem. That's what I don't like. That's not playing fair. Now, to be clear, I don't believe that all men are incapable of love, right? As a matter of fact, I have met a few men in my life who I believe are capable of love because I've seen evidence of that. You understand? This is not me living in la la or fairy tale land. However, a lot of times when I bring certain men up, other men don't want to hear that. Okay, a lot of men don't want women to believe that there are men who are capable of rising above their lower nature and reach self-actualization, because then what is your excuse? Now you can choose to remain at the bottom, operating at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you can excuse yourself by saying this is how all men are. When in all actuality, no, that's the vast majority. But there are men who have transcended that and don't operate in their lower nature and don't allow sex and women to control them, right? So I've seen this. So because I've seen it, I know what it looks like, and I can know when I can understand now when a man is not operating in that. Do y'all understand? Okay? But the problem is, again, a lot of men want women to accept who they are and women to operate in that lower nature with them. That's why oftentimes, if you're trying to have these conversations with men, a lot of the men that are choosing to operate within their lower nature will bring up these examples of women who have done foul stuff too, right? And they think because women have engaged in certain behaviors with them that we are the same. that we think of love the same, that we view love in terms of transaction. But that's not true. Ladies, if y'all really think about it, and this is why women can be alone more, this is why women can go long periods of times without having sex, because we are not driven by testosterone. Our biology and chemical makeup is completely different. Women don't sit up. The vast majority of women do not sit up and think about sex all day long. And we definitely don't think about like the wild stuff that y'all, there's no comparison, right? If y'all really knew the kind of things that a lot of these men are into, which I believe a lot of women are not privy to, women don't want to be out here living in sexual demoralization, okay? We want to have intimacy, right? But through the music, through the culture, through what we've seen put on a pedestal, women believe that your only way to intimacy is through engaging in sexually demoralizing acts with men, right? And being in competition with other women for these men, right? So men mistake that for they're just like me. They're the opposite of me. And because women are just like me, then I have an excuse for my behavior, when in all actuality, that's not true, okay? And ladies, what will prevent you from being able to love and self-actualizing is choosing to stay there, because it's a scarcity mindset. Most women do not want to engage in that type of behavior, okay? How do I know this? Go look at the women who have been on the streets. Go look at women who engaged in adult content in the film industry. Look at women who have engaged in these behaviors all their life and see how they are when they get older. Okay, majority of them look completely drained, like their life force is gone. Okay, because they've engaged in so much degeneration, moral degeneration with a lot of men, right? And this is not to talk bad about those women. I'm just saying it doesn't have the same effect on us. Y'all understand it affects us negatively. You see a lot of the times a woman who has been with a man for a long time, who she had to put up with a lot for, she looks older, okay? She's gained a lot of weight. She has low self-esteem. She doesn't like other women. A lot of times she doesn't even have any female friends. And men are telling women, y'all are gonna die alone, which you are gonna die alone, because 9 times out of 10, statistics show your husband is gonna die before you, and now you don't have any friends or family. I'm gonna use my own grandmother as an example. A lot of the times men try to get you to be this ride or die and be with them through thick and thin. My grandmother was in a relationship, a marriage over 30 years with my grandfather, to where he beat her down until he got too sick to beat her down. And then when he realized he was sick, he got his toes cut off, had diabetes, was going blind. That is when that man finally decided to start apologizing to people. But if he would have been healthy and able, he would have continued that behavior, right? But he was afraid to die alone. But guess what? My grandfather died before my grandmother. He died during COVID. And what do y'all think is happening with my grandmother? She's in complete isolation because she sacrificed relationships with friends and family and her own children to continue that marriage with that man who drained her of absolutely everything. And this is not just the story of my grandmother. This is the story of many women's grandmothers. So y'all want to talk down to us because y'all see that we don't want that. Let me tell y'all something. When I see a woman who was in a relationship with a man who's actually capable of love, she is not drained. She is thriving. She is happy. Okay? I have a woman in my family who was dealing with a man that is just like that. And you know what? He wouldn't dare. Some of the stuff that y'all tell us to put up with and maneuver, he wouldn't dare sit up and tell his daughters or any woman of his family that, okay? And his wife don't have to all this You gotta cook, you gotta clean, you gotta make your whole life about a man. He don't sit up and tell his wife, I ain't never went to her house and she put some on the stove. But she's a nice woman. She's a very just a ball of light and energy. You can tell he really loves her. But let me also tell you something about my cousin. He understands that men have to have structure, a code, and a philosophy. That y'all can't be out here, if y'all want to actually be able to love, that y'all can't be all willy-nilly out here making excuses for your behavior and saying that we're just carnal beings and we're just like that. Okay? That man doesn't drink. That man has a particular diet, like he don't eat pork, he don't eat fried food. That man, well, you won't catch him at a strip club. Anytime you see him, men trying to get him to go somewhere where it's a whole bunch of women, he's like, no, he gonna opt up out of that, right? And a lot of men feel uncomfortable when they come in his presence, and it's not because he's shaming them, but just by him simply saying, no, I don't want to do that, no, I'm not on that. A lot of men get very uncomfortable around him, but that man has set a moral standard for himself because he understands the nature of himself and how he can be if he doesn't have discipline in his life. Okay? Another man who speaks about this in those same terms, a lot of men on the internet don't like him, is Tony Gaskins. And everybody wants to compare Tony Gaskins and Derek Jackson, which I don't understand, because if y'all listen to the messages are different. Tony Gaskins will get on the internet and tell you, I am no different than any other man. I can have the same thoughts. The only thing that keeps me in line is my own personal commitment to God and the philosophies that I have on how to govern myself. My wife does not keep me faithful. Do y'all understand? That man has come on here and say women will never understand the true nature of men. Men can go out there and kill. You shouldn't even leave your children around a man. And is he lying? No. Because 1 in every 4 black women have been sexually assaulted by a family member or somebody the family knows that was a grown man. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of you men aren't telling it that you were first introduced to your first sexual experience through a grown man that was close to your family. I don't hate men. I'm just speaking facts. I'm just speaking facts. And yes, there are female predators out there. We know about them. Okay. But it's nowhere near. Nowhere near. Okay. Also, when you track the statistics on levels of violence, which is often caused by men having a lot of testosterone, it doesn't even come close between men and women. Okay. So women need to understand the nature of men so that we know how to deal with y'all. We don't have to hate y'all. We don't have to dislike y'all. As a matter of fact, it gives us the ability to make an informed decision. Okay, there are several things we can do with that information, and I've written them down. So if y'all see me looking down, forgive me. It's just I wanted to make sure I came on here with clear talking points. So women could choose not to deal with y'all at all. Wouldn't it be nice if women who expected love from you knew that they can't get it from you, and instead of being up in your face, pressuring you to do things like marry them, stop dealing with other women, treating them nicely, treating them with love, tenderness, and concern, wouldn't it be nice if those women stopped pestering you and just focused on themselves? And ladies, think of all the men that you spent trying to get them to love you and it just never happened. How much further would you be in life if you were able to just focus on yourself, build yourself up? What about instead of not taking this job offer in another country because you didn't want to leave that boyfriend of yours who didn't love you anyway, or not going overseas, or heck, even choosing to move places for men that didn't even want you really or love you really? What if instead you put all that energy and time into yourself? A lot of y'all can't even focus on your children because you're running in behind a man. What if you focused on putting your energy back into loving and cherishing your children and helping them become the best human beings that they can become. Okay? Option number 2, they can choose to deal with you, but they will understand that you cannot love them. So what does that look like? Well, when you tell them that you love them, you can't manipulate them with that anymore. Okay? They'll just look at you like, okay. It won't feel like anything. They won't get those butterflies. Okay? They can deal with you on their terms. Okay? They won't do stuff that they don't want to do, trying to keep your love. Okay? Everything will be, this is what I want from you. If I want to give you something to get what I want from you, cool. If I don't, that's cool. I don't have to sit waiting by the phone for you to text me or call me, because I don't get any validation from that, because it's not real or genuine love anyway, right? Women can take their time back. And again, you're let off the hook because you're not being pressured to do something you're incapable of doing. Okay? Another thing it does, ladies, it takes you out of competition with other women. So if you're dealing with a man and you know that he deals with other women, you don't have to race to the bottom, okay? You don't have to feel like you're pitted against that woman. You don't have to feel like you have to give more than she's giving, okay, to be favored and loved by this man, because honestly and truly, he don't love either one of you. He's incapable of it if that's how he's moving. Okay, you can only give, you will only give what you want to give to that situation. Okay, and like I said, y'all view love as transaction, so you can be dealt with on a transactional basis. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. And that's pretty much the end of my video, guys. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna link Princella on the High Power Podcast. I'm gonna link one of her videos in my description box, because anytime I do one of these videos, I want to give sis credit, because these are some realizations that I had already kind of come to, but I was going about it the wrong way. Before I started hearing what Princella had to say, things weren't really connecting and clicking the way that they were, okay? I believe that men, the majority of men, at some point would love a woman. They just had to find the right one, and they just had to mature, okay? She made it make sense to me that it's not that simple. It's not something that just clicks for men. Okay, there's a series of steps and process and work that has to be done, that a man has to choose to do in order for him to be able to love. But when I look around the world, I see no evidence. Okay, when I look about in my daily life, when I go on the internet, I see no evidence of the vast majority of men choosing to do this work and disciplining themselves in such a manner. Okay. Also, a lot of times we mistake a man getting older and not dealing with a whole bunch of women just because maturity as something that allows men to love. And it's like, no, he might be dysfunctional at that point. A lot of the times they're looking at the longer picture. Who's going to take care of me? That is not love. That is not a man learning to love, right? A man learning to be able to consciously love takes a lot of work. A lot of transcendence. So now when you look about the world, if you still choose to deal with men, which is fine. Women, do what you would like with this information. I just want you to have the information. When you look about, and if you decide to still choose to deal with men, and if you want to find a man that does love you, that is capable of it, well, now you need to look and see, is there evidence outside of me, outside of women? Is there evidence in how this man conducts himself to show me that he is even capable of that? But I guarantee you that the vast majority of the time, you will not see that evidence. And you need to give it time to be able to see it, because time exposes all lies. All right? That's all I have to say. Y'all have a good day.